Hello guys, welcome today for another video of SDV Jesus, and today we're gonna be talking about grief. And I have one of my leaders, Diddy here, and today we're gonna be talking about grief. So Diddy, what is grief?
Well, hopefully you can hear me. And we looked up the definition here on my dictionary, and we found it to be emotional distress caused by or as if by bereavement. That's Merriam-Webster's dictionary definition of grief.
And we found that bereavement means something valued, like a person or an item, lost. Usually someone is like deaf or something. And
Yeah.
yeah. So what you get more into detail with this, Diddy?
With grief? Well,
Yes.
today I was actually started reading this book by this philosopher. I don't know if you heard about him. His name is C.S. Lewis. And he wrote a bunch of books, and actually he wrote like fictional. So he wrote what's that? Chronicles of Narnia. Have you heard of that? They made it into movies and stuff.
Yeah, I heard of it.
All right. Well, he also wrote a lot of books on what he called Christian apologetics, right? So what he tried to do is that he wanted to defend the existence of God, of Jesus, Christian theology in a philosophical and also logical, rational, reasonable manner. But that worked until he went through grief. What happened was that he married a woman who was dying of an illness, and they were married for only 3 years. So when she finally died, he went through a lot of grieving. And this is how he starts his book about his grief. This is the first sentence. I'm gonna quote. No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. So fear, the way that that you experience a grief, they're all similar. He goes on to say, I am not afraid, but the sensation is like being afraid. The same fluttering in the stomach, the same restlessness, the yawning. I keep on swallowing. So that's our sensation of grief, and he felt that he was gonna get to a point that no, he wasn't gonna stop believing in God, but he felt that he was gonna learn the true nature of God, and that God wasn't actually this all loving, all benevolent, powerful God, but rather he was just some guy that really didn't care that much about us, and he had to stop himself from getting to that conclusion, because that conclusion would have driven away his purpose, what he had been set in this earth to do. It would have disproven everything that he had actually said and fought for. That's why I believe actually that grieving, it's at times it's a test for our faith, and it is a tool used by God to allow us to grow. Another Christian intellectual, his name Dr. Cornel Westman, said that those who haven't despaired have not lived. But at the end of the day, I do not let despair have the last word. So sorrow, despair, grief, all these things definitely make up part of our lives and part of our growth. It's sort of a nourishment for our character. Apart obviously from joy, happiness, contentment, all those things. Well, how about you, Raul? What is your opinion on grief?
Um, I think if I knew a family member was like getting saved and if they died, I wouldn't worry so much because at least they'll be in a wonderful place. But knowing if like there's a possibility that they can't get saved, then that's like very hard. Like I wouldn't blame them for going through grief, and I wouldn't want to go through grief, so that's why I'm trying as hard as I could because I'm the only Christian in my family. I'm trying so hard to pray for them, to get them to get into God because everyone needs God. So what would you experience if you went through grief?
Well, there's five. They say there's five steps to grieving, and I forgot the order. I have it in my notes for my psychology class, but if I remember, it has something to do with denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. And I think it's in that order. I might be wrong. It was that. How was it? Dab dab. Okay, so actually, I'm sorry. It would be denial, anger, um, bargaining, then depression, then acceptance. There you go. And that's what most people go through, especially after somebody's death. And maybe we need to learn how to identify those steps, and we need to learn how to deal with each of those steps because we're gonna go through it. And some people, they'll go through some steps and they'll go back, and some steps will take really long. There's people that they're still stuck on anger. I remember a few years ago, I was told about this man that his daughter had died. She was a young woman, and that man did not finish all those steps of grieving. He was stuck on anger, and ever since his daughter died, he was angry as heck. He would scream at people. He would throw things. He was just like a crappy neighbor to everybody. And God has definitely not called us to be in that state of just stuck in anger, because that turns into a sin. Yeah, God does understand that we have to grieve. Even in the Bible, there was a prophet that he told him, "Hey, listen, your wife, she's gonna die. You can't publicly grieve, but I'm gonna let you to be able to grieve her in a more private setting." And he was allowed at least to, maybe shed some tears, or maybe not. I'm sorry, but he was allowed to grieve privately because everybody had to grieve. So if you lost somebody and you feel angry and you feel all these feelings, that's natural, and God definitely has the mercy and has the understanding to allow you to go through that, because that's just something that makes us human. But you can never get stuck on that. You gotta speak it out of you at times. There's different therapies for grieving, like shouting, to shout your feelings out. Group therapy, individual therapy, to speak of your feelings and emotions. I had a I had a grieving experience at once. Very personal experience, so I'm not gonna share it. But I felt very depressed and I felt very proud because I had a problem with pride, or rather, I had a problem with what I thought was mine, what I thought was my what belonged to me. I could not be touched by God. So when I told God, "Listen, Lord, use my whole life for Your glory," I didn't actually mean it. I meant use everything in my life except this. I want this to be the way I want it to be, and that caused me grief. But once I was able to surrender that to God, that the grieving process finished, or a consummated, as it were, and I was able to move on to greater things in God. So if you find yourself stuck in the process of grieving, if you're stuck in bargaining or in denial or in anger or depression, I recommend that you surrender that to God before it becomes not only a bigger problem in your life, but a problem in the life of the ones that you love. And now, I don't know if Raul wants to say some closing
Um,
words.
I wouldn't know how I'll feel if I lost a family member, but I know it'll be hard. But um, I'll just put God on top of everything because He knows what He's doing. He never has failed. He never has lied. So I'm gonna trust God if that were to happen. I would be upset and depressed and sad, but I'll get over it because God is the best. He knows what He's doing, and I have faith and confidence that He's gonna help my family get to know Him, so I wouldn't have to worry if they died or not, because they will be in heaven. They'll be safe with no problems. And well, guys, if you have any questions, leave some comments below. Please like this video, subscribe, and many more to come. If that situation is happening right now with you, I hope that you will follow those steps that Diddy was explaining and sharing with you guys, and that God will help you. Trust me. Just pray, ask Him, tell Him that you understand why He did it. You might not understand, but just have faith and confidence because He knows what He's doing. Just trust God. Well, guys, have a wonderful day. God bless.